Hi YouTube, it is Market Watch time. This is the Market Watch before Nationals. This is it. After this, we got Nationals, and then the market will definitely be changing as there will no longer be big serious events until the Ultimate Cups. Nationals is just arguably the biggest. It's a shame I can't go, but I'm going to give you guys all the information you need before we get there. So if you guys like this content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, to notification bell to smash potatoes. That way you know when all these Digimon videos go live. And of course, really do please subscribe. Only half of you are still subscribed. it's it's nice. Just press that button. I would really appreciate it. The 20,000 grind. We're trying to push to it. All right. So, just real quick, the Omnimon market hasn't really changed too much. The Omnimon X's are definitely creeping up in price, particularly the BT5 one. But besides that, there really isn't anything else going on today. So, the rest of this market watch is going to be formulated around the cards that you should really, in the decks, you should really be expecting to see at Nationals, and just talking about budget options. We're barely going to talk about max rarity stuff, barely. But just so you know, maybe you don't know what you want to play yet. Maybe you have an idea, but maybe you need some cards for the deck, or whatever. But keep these prices a grain of salt. Why do I say that? Because Nationals is still freaking 2 days away, and there's last chance qualifiers and the actual big event itself. Now, I am fully expecting that there will be a vendor, whoever's winning the tournament, the Nationals. I don't even know. Whoever's winning the tournament will probably have a vendor booth. Maybe there'll be multiple vendor booths. I don't know. But I know that if I was running a vendor booth at a Nationals, I would be charging at least TCG player price, if not more than TCG player price. Why? Because those prices are completely justified. If you want these cards to increase your chances of topping the biggest Digimon tournament of the year, they have every right to take the TCG player prices and knock them up a little bit. So that's why I'm saying take these prices with a grain of salt. This is also probably a really good time to sell some cards because things will just start going down a little bit because it is what it is, right? So with all that information being done, let's look at the cards that you need to have your eyeballs on for Nationals. The big bad deck is BlackWarGreymon X. This is the best deck of the format. Make no mistake. Your deck has to be able to beat this deck, or you're going to be in trouble. Probably. The deck isn't really that expensive as long as you had your stuff beforehand, because the new stuff in BT11 is very cheap. But if you don't have your BlackWarGreymons, well, I don't know what to tell you, because they're actually really down now. They're actually went down a lot. Crazy. They're $8. Cool. Yeah. That's not too bad, honestly. Like, the Agumons, the promo Agumons are the other expensive part of the deck, and the promo Agumon here is still, like, what? How low can you go? $18? It's just been creeping up. And if you want alt arts, it's just going wild. You don't need alt arts, obviously. Like, this can be nothing, and this can be nothing. But this, you need 4 of them, and that's $18, $36, $72 for a playset. So the deck is a little pricey if you don't already have the pre-existing stuff for it. But if you don't, this the BlackWarGreymon X is really, really cheap to get. You're not playing Retain Retire or anything like that. Your options are pretty cheap. Cool Boy is, $78 as well. Yeah, Cool Boy is a card we'll talk about real quickly, where it's almost gone. It is almost gone. By the way, there were actually more listings of these when I looked it up 6 hours ago for Market Watch. So $10, that's the Nationals price if you want to play Cool Boy here at Nationals. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, BlackWarGreymon X, definitely best deck. X antibody decks are strong. Speaking of X antibody decks, we have Grandis, Grand Kuwagamon. Now the Grandis is pretty cheap itself. This is $3-4. That's not terrible. The most expensive card in the deck is the promo Kuwamon at $18-19 range. If you are fine with that, go ahead and pick up the rest of the deck, because the rest of the deck is nothing in price compared to that. And you can even play Davis instead of Mimi if you really want to go the blue route. And Davis is like $6-7 as opposed to Mimi, which is a little more expensive than that. Might even be down now. Who knows? But yeah, Grandis, very cheap alternative, probably the second best deck in the format, if we're being honest here. Melga. Yes, Melga is not dead. This is a deck you should expect to see. And while most of the deck is cheap now, you do need Cool Boys, which we did previously mention, and you also need Promo Garurumons, which I believe is actually the most expensive card in the deck. Promo WarGreymon you also need for, but it's nowhere near this. Deck is really, really cheap if you already have it, like the Cool Boys and stuff, but if you don't, you know, it could run you about 150, 60 bucks to try to build the deck. Would I play Melga at Nationals? I personally wouldn't, but someone will slap with Melga at Nationals. I promise you. Be prepared to see it. Now, as we go into the Tier 1.5 section, you will see Jesmon. People really like Jesmon right now. And Jesmon plays 2 to 3 copies of Jesmon GX, so 60 to 90 bucks there. And, you know, the rest of the deck is pretty cheap. The Jesmon stuff, the Sistermons, you know, everything else in the deck is actually really cheap. So Jesmon is super budget, if in my opinion. Especially if you go to play 2 Jesmon GXs instead of, you know, 3. The only other expensive card is Chimera, but Chimeramon is like nothing. Not nothing anymore, but Chimeramon here is $8. 8, 9 bucks. 10 bucks almost. It had a bounce up, probably due to Nationals. Pretty cheap deck all in all. Jesmon, you can build it for less than $150. You can just do that. So expect to see Jesmon everywhere, because you will see it at Nationals. Beelstar. Beal Mommy here has also seen a resurgence. That people like the deck. People want to play the deck. It's not terribly expensive, unless you play things like Zwart Defeat, which we saw on my page. Death X, maybe they play one of that. That's 50-ish bucks. And some options like Cockeyed's Breath are, you know, a little bit expensive. But besides that, the rest of the deck is nothing. It's relatively budget unless you're playing things like Death Examon. If you're playing Zwart Defeats, it does increase the cap a little bit. But expect to see Beelstar at Nationals. It is a good control deck. It will be there. And you should know how to fight against it. Examon. Examon just actually won my tournament yesterday now. It won. Went through 5 rounds. Went 5-0. Examon has been doing well this format. It's a decent counter to Grandis and BlackWarGreymon. Not impossible to beat, obviously, but you know, Examon is really good if they draw Examon. And double Examon is even better. Expect to see it at Nationals. You need 4 Examons. That's $134 roughly. $135. The rest of the deck is nothing. It's actually worth nothing. The rest of the deck. You can build Examon for maybe $160, $70. It's actually really, really decent. The second most expensive card in the deck, I think, is Davis. And that's nothing. Davis is nothing. $7, $6. So yeah, definitely Examon, be prepared to see it. It can do really well. If you high roll this deck, it will top Nationals. Promise. WarGreymon. You will also see this at Nationals because people like their red OTK Go Bird decks. WarGreymon here, you need a few copies of this one, and it's $10. The other WarGreymon X is worth nothing. The cards that are kind of worth the money are the Greymons. You know, Star Deck Greymon luckily has gone down in price thanks to this printing coming out. The cheapest one now is $8, which is relatively nice, actually. Let me make sure, yeah, near mint $8. You know, so you play 4 of this in WarGrey X if you want to see success. If you want to play a Metal Grey Ultraverse mode, that is $20. So like me a couple copies of that. That could run you a little bit of money. And the final card that could run you a little bit of money besides Cool Boy is Tai Kamiya. I can't type anymore. It's almost 1 a.m. Tai will run you a little bit of dollars. I know people are playing Yuya in the deck in some iterations of it, just to make things like Hades Force a little more operable. But like this is definitely just the way. Hit all that security damage and just do a lot of damage. That's it. You know what I mean? You know, if you have the WarGreymon VT1, Yuya becomes a little less important. So, whatever. The WarGreymon, the deck, can run you over $200 if you don't have any of the cards for it already. It's tier 1.5 for sure, though. You will see it at Nationals. Be prepared to see it. Dorbikmon. I have to mention this because it's won 3 of my tournaments in the past 7 weeks. You know, The most expensive card in this deck, I believe, is the Star Deck Greymon and Omni X Antibody if you're playing it. Some people play Death Examon. The deck is actually super budget, super cheap. Oh, and I guess there is the Guilmon. The Guilmon might run you some money. What are they going for? Like $8 now for the cheapest version of it? Yeah, $8. Yep, right on the money. So you need 4 of that. So 4 of that, 4 Starter Deck Greymon maybe. That's $72. On the X, if you want it, that's $82. You can build the rest of the deck for $100. It's a very cheap deck. It's a very aggressive deck, Dorbrickmon. I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is, to be honest. But again, do be prepared to see it. Mastemon. We're obviously not playing the max rarity version. I think there's one guy doing it. Maybe 2 that I know of. So yeah, Mastemon, really, really cheap if you're not playing this version of it. The lowest rarity is $1 for it. So that's nothing. However, there are cards in the deck that are a little more expensive. Like Miri will run you $9. And it's kind of going down in price, so maybe get a little bit lower than that. Need 4 copies of it. Lucemon Chaos Mode is still seeing play, and that kind of exploded. You can get away with 1 copy of it. You'll be okay with that. And Magna Angemon here going for $28. Again, you don't need as many copies as before because you have the Lady Devies and the Angemon ones now, but you kind of want to consider as an option. So Mastemon can run you like $200. If you play Death X's and Zort Defeats, it even increases the cap from there. So do keep that price in mind. I wouldn't recommend playing the deck unless you're ready to just freaking go crazy with your brain. Like if you have the Ritalin and the Adderall ready to go, like go ahead and play Mastemon. If you don't, I wouldn't touch it. I'll leave Magna Angemon here to leave an honorable mention to Security Control. It's North America. People will play Security Control. I don't see why they would. I think that's suicidal at Nationals, but someone might sneak in a top 32. It's possible. It's doable. Security Control plays, Death X's, Magna Angemon out the wazoo. It's an expensive deck. I wouldn't bother with it, but it is what it is. The last deck I want to talk about today is not Machine Dramon. No, sir. Or All Force. No, sir. It's Shoutmon. The Shoutmon cross deck has been blowing my expectations a little bit out of the water, and we're seeing it on paper and in practice doing well. Now, the deck isn't really that expensive. The most expensive card, I think, in the deck is Shoutmon X5 at $10. I believe everything else in the deck is cheaper. Shoutmon King version is cheaper now. And, it is a relatively budget deck. Just, you gotta be careful with BlackWarGreymon. I can't imagine myself taking this to Nationals while Hades Force exists. That does sound suicidal to me. But people are really hyping up the deck, and you will probably see it at Nationals. So with that out of the way, that is it for this week's Market Watch. Hopefully we gave you a nice broad stroke here of what prices you need to expect for Nationals if you still need to get cards. My recommendation is sell some cards while these prices are kind of going up and high and all that while you can. Because after Nationals, we'll wait and see what happens. Let me know anything in the comment section below, guys, and we will see you later. Have a good one and have fun at Nationals if you're going. Take care.